At one point, Adrien Broner wasn't just a boxer, he was the boxer, the flashy, loud 4-division world champ who told everyone he was next after Floyd Mayweather. He had the talent, the confidence, the lifestyle, and he loved showing it off. Rolexes, chains, fast cars and all. But behind that shine, there was always something off. Missed weight, legal trouble, money slipping through his fingers, and deep down, he truly believed his skills would always be enough. Then came the arrest that changed everything. This wasn't just another headline. This was the moment that stopped his entire career in its tracks. The illusion, the image he built for years, shattered. Fans who once screamed his name went quiet. Promoters pulled back. And Adrien Broner, who once said he'd be a legend, was now fighting just to stay relevant. So what really happened? How did someone with so much promise fall so far? Let's go back. Adrien Broner didn't just enter boxing, he exploded into it. Born in Cincinnati, Ohio, Adrien grew up in a neighborhood where violence and crime were normal. He started boxing at 6, and for him, it wasn't just a sport, it was survival. "Boxing saved my life," he once said. He'd seen too many friends die or get locked up. In the ring, he was explosive. Outside, he was loud, bold, and unforgettable. He trash-talked, danced, posed, and brushed his hair in the middle of fights. People started calling him the next Floyd Mayweather. In 2011, he won his first world title by knocking out Vicente Martin Rodriguez. His celebration? Vintage Broner, dancing, showboating, promising even bigger things ahead. He kept winning. In 2012, he beat Antonio DeMarco for the WBC lightweight belt. Then he moved up again and took the WBA title from Paulie Malignaggi in 2013. After the fight, Broner mocked Paulie, saying, "I beat him and took his girl." It wasn't just confidence, it was war, and it made him the sport's biggest showman, but also one of its most unpredictable. But the cracks were showing. He was missing weight, slacking in training, spending like the money would never run out. His rise felt fast, too fast, and something felt off. Then, December 14th, 2013, the night everything started to fall apart. Broner was expected to dominate Marcos Maidana. Instead, Maidana battered him, knocked him down in the second round, then again in the 8th. For 12 rounds, Broner got bullied. And just like that, his perfect 27-0 record was gone. He didn't handle the loss well. He stormed out of the ring without talking. No excuses, no post-fight speech, just silence. It wasn't just a loss, it broke him. The image of being untouchable? Gone. But instead of rebuilding himself, Broner dug in. He blamed Maidana, said he'd been fouled, promised revenge. But behind the scenes, he was skipping workouts, partying harder, gaining weight. And online, he mocked critics. They hate me because they ain't me. But that wasn't confidence anymore. That was denial. He tried to come back. In 2015, he won another title. A few more wins padded the record. But something was missing. His fights weren't as exciting. His name wasn't drawing the same attention. And worse, people weren't talking about his boxing anymore. They were talking about court cases. One day he's posting videos of himself flushing money down the toilet. The next, he's in court claiming he's broke. His behavior kept getting more reckless. In 2016, he was arrested for assault and robbery outside a bowling alley. The charges got dropped, but the headlines didn't, and his image kept crumbling. 2018, he was accused of groping a woman at the mall, then missed court, then a DUI, then another arrest. But every time, Broner brushed it off like it was nothing, posting online, talking trash, acting like everything was still fine. But it wasn't. He drew with Jesse Vargas in 2018, a fight most people thought he lost. Then in 2019, he faced Manny Pacquiao and got beat clearly. But afterward, he claimed he won. "I beat that boy," he said. The crowd booed. People laughed. It was sad, not funny, not hype, just desperation. And it got worse. In 2020, a judge ordered him to pay over $800,000 to a woman he assaulted. Broner said he couldn't. The court asked for proof, and that's when it all collapsed. Adrien Broner, once known for flaunting stacks of cash, stood in front of a judge and admitted his bank account had just $13. The same guy who used to scream about billions now couldn't pay a dime. The judge didn't buy it. She brought up Broner's Instagram, where he was still showing off cash. Broner said it wasn't his. "I got rich friends," he told the judge. "They let me hold money for pictures." She wasn't having it. She put him in jail for contempt. It was surreal. This man who once ruled the spotlight now sat in a jumpsuit, broke, tired, and completely out of control. By now, promoters were walking away. Endorsements? Gone. Even Showtime, one of the last companies backing him, stopped calling. He wasn't just losing fans, he was losing himself. In 2021, he posted messages about suicide. "I just need help. I'm tired," he said. It hit hard. Suddenly, behind all the jokes, the flexing, the noise, there was a man crying out for help. That same year in October, he was arrested again. This time it was quiet. No drama, no fight, just a warrant for unpaid court orders from the previous assault case. And the photo from the arrest? It said everything. He looked tired, lost, like someone who didn't even recognize himself anymore. This wasn't just another bump in the road. This was the moment people stopped asking, "When's Broner fighting again?" and started asking, "What happened to Adrien Broner?" Because by now the fight wasn't about titles or legacy. It was about survival. By 2021, Adrien Broner was no longer the name on everyone's lips. He was a memory. And still, he tried to make a comeback. He said he was training. He talked about redemption. He said he wanted to prove everyone wrong. But it wasn't the same. His body wasn't responding. He was slower. He looked tired. That spark in his eyes, it was gone. In 2022, he pulled out of a fight against Omar Figueroa Jr., saying he needed to focus on his mental health. "I'm going through a lot," he wrote, "but I'm not giving up." Figueroa, who had his own battles, showed him support, but the fans weren't buying it anymore. The hype was gone. The industry had moved on. By 2023, Broner looked like a shell of who he used to be. In interviews, his voice was low, his eyes were empty, his energy drained. In one moment that went viral, he said, "Sometimes I wake up and I don't even want to live. I got demons, man. Real ones." It shocked fans. The loud, fearless fighter they remembered was now exposing his pain. Boxing had taken more from him than it ever gave back. The fame, the punishment, the pressure, it broke him. The media had built him up to be the next Mayweather, but he was never built to handle that. And now, in his early 30s, he looked worn down. Brain fog, anxiety, depression. He once said, "Boxing saved my life, but it also ruined it." That one sentence says everything about Adrien Broner. It wasn't just the money he lost, it wasn't just the fights. He lost the people around him. The crew that used to follow him around disappeared. Trainers who once believed in him stopped calling. Even Al Heyman, one of the most powerful men in boxing, stepped back after too many missed commitments. He was surrounded by yes men who told him what he wanted to hear. His real trainers tried warning him, "Change camps, focus, grow up." He didn't listen. Even his longtime trainer, Mike Stafford, said, "He wants to do everything his own way. You can't do that at the top level." Broner fired back at critics, calling them jealous. But really, he was hurt. He couldn't admit he needed help. Even Mayweather tried to guide him. In 2015, Floyd said, "I love Adrien, but he needs to humble himself." Broner didn't want to be the student. He wanted to be the star. Even his family felt it. Though he had several kids, he rarely posted about them. When he did, it was tied to his financial stress. One time he posted, "I do this for my babies," holding back tears. But court documents showed he'd missed child support payments. One judge warned him more jail time could come if he didn't pay. As he got more alone, he got louder online. His once funny social media turned dark. He wrote, "You'll only love me when I'm winning," and another time, "I'm tired of being strong for everybody." The image of Adrien Broner, the flashy, undefeated warrior, was gone. All that was left was a man surrounded by his own mistakes. In 2023, talks of another comeback started, but this time it wasn't with Showtime. It wasn't a Vegas main event. It was with Don King, a name tied to broken fighters and controversy. Broner needed the money. Maybe he still believed people wanted to see the problem. He faced Bill Hutchinson, an unknown fighter. The fight wasn't in New York or LA. It was in Miami, Ohio. Hardly anyone was talking about it. Still, Broner came in with his old confidence. Music playing, chin up. He won the fight by decision. But it was clear he wasn't the same. His reflexes were slow. The power was missing. The fire had burned out. In the post-fight interview, he said, "It felt good to be back, but I know I'm not where I used to be." For the first time, Broner admitted his prime was behind him. He talked again about mental health. "I've been through hell. I'm trying to climb out." But there was no real comeback, no big fight after that, no sponsors, no buzz. The sport had moved on. And Adrien Broner, still only in his 30s, had become an afterthought. In boxing, if you don't change, you don't last. And Broner never changed. Then came another court summons, this time over unpaid debts and breach of contract. Rumors swirled. He might have violated probation again. Nobody asked when he'd fight next. They asked when he'd get arrested again. That's the tragedy. He finally admitted he needed help, but by then, nobody was listening. The redemption arc never came. There was no miracle. Adrien Broner's story isn't just about a boxer, it's about what happens when someone believes their own hype and refuses to grow. He was 27-0 at one point, a 4-division champ. People said he'd be the next pay-per-view king. Now, his name is tied to mugshots, bankruptcy, and regret. He had all the talent in the world, that's the painful part. Sean Porter, who beat him, once said, if he had trained like Floyd, he'd still be at the top. But Broner thought talent was enough. That fame would always carry him. That money could buy loyalty and time. But it all ran out. Now in 2024, he's mostly vanished. Once in a while he posts online. Maybe a cryptic message, maybe a video, but the spark is gone. The clowning turned to sadness. The confidence became silence. In one of his last public moments, he walked out of a courtroom, hoodie pulled over his head, eyes down. No crowd, no cheers, just silence. He once said, "They'll miss me when I'm gone." Maybe he was right. But they won't miss the drama or the chaos. They'll miss the kid from Cincinnati, the one who could have been great. The arrest didn't just end his career, it showed there was nothing left of it. And for Adrien Broner, that's the one opponent he couldn't beat. An opponent he couldn't beat.